And this is Fiesta. Important. Get it right. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to say. See what happens. So Ford has done a brand new Fiesta. Now this is very important for you because statistically it will definitely be your next new small hatchback. The outgoing Fiesta, this one has been the United Kingdom of Britain's best-selling car for the last 8 years in a row. And for something this old to be competing even, let alone still be on top, just defies credibility almost. But the Fiesta was and is brilliant. So we flew to Spain to have a drive in a new one, and guess what? Oh, this is rubbish. Obviously not. Yep, it's a good one. Phew. Yo, I did it! Now, back to me on the wrong side of the car. What we can already say about this new Fiesta is that it is more grown up, which means it's a bit bigger. You can tell it's bigger, it feels more spacious, and also it rides noticeably better. And that there is the main thing about the new Fiesta. Ford hasn't gone and done something mental like turned it into a crossover or something, although it is about to do that. But instead, it's just taken the old Fiesta and...
well, it's one louder, isn't it?
I mean, to look at it, you can hardly tell the difference. And for example, the boot's only a couple of litres bigger than before, which is about class average, and there's only that much more rear leg space. In fact, there are oddly specific numerical enhancements throughout the Fiesta. Check this out. Thank you. Compared to the last one, this has a 20% bigger glove box. It generates 7% less road noise. The wipers clear 13% more of the windscreen, and the doors take 20% less effort to close. The engine range is similarly improved. There are 2 petrols and a diesel, and in a variety of strengths, and with no real surprises. The cheap seats are taken up by a 1.1 litre petrol engine, although that's about as quick as a contestant on ITV's Love Island.
Stick together, then just crack on with as many birds as you can.
While the various versions of the 1 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine now offer economy well into the 60s, and it remains a lovely engine, but diesel engine is really good. This car has the 3-cylinder EcoBoost petrol with 140 horsepower, and actually I have to say it doesn't really feel as quick as I thought it would, although it's nice and quiet when you're just hooting along. But the titanium that we drove had the new, more powerful diesel, which is I think the most powerful diesel that Ford's ever put into a Fiesta. It is. And actually, it was really good. It had the sort of character of a 3-cylinder petrol engine, but it had loads of torque, so it felt really quick. And look at the fuel economy, 80 miles per gallon plus. Nice. Which brings us to the cost in general. Not only is it cheap to put fuel into, but it's cheap to insure, and of course, it's reasonably priced. The range starts at this price, which compares favourably to other cars of a similar size that you might also be considering, until that is, you hit this one, the Vignale, I think it's pronounced. Back in the real world, Ford has given the basic Fiesta the standard small car get-up. Steel wheels, basic stereo, albeit it does have some good safety stuff, which is why this car, when it's tested, will no doubt get a 5-star Euro NCAP rating. Still though, Z-Tech is where you really want to start. You know, for a couple of things, it gets alloys and a touchscreen radio, so it looks better inside and out. Moving up to... this is where the Fiesta really starts to feel like the sort of car that Ford claims it is. However, if you want your Fiesta to feel like the sort of car it used to be, you need to go here. There are some differences in kit with ST line, but that's not really the thing. The one thing that's very clear about the Fiesta straight away is that they've put some space between the sportier ones and the non-sporty ones. The overarching characteristic of the titanium car that we drove earlier was comfort. Felt soft, which was nice most of the time, but it also meant that it bounced quite a lot. Whereas this one is noticeably firmer and just generally feels a lot more, well, planted. That's because they've tweaked the chassis, including the steering and suspension, to make ST-line cars feel different, and giving the Fiesta model in general a broader appeal. Most of them are comfier than ever, but the ST-line gives you back something of the driving fun that the old Fiesta had. It does tell you what it's doing, this one. But whichever version you're in, the biggest change from old to new Fiesta is in the cabin. The bonanza of baffling buttons from the last Fiesta is gone, and it's replaced by the so-called floating touchscreen. Nope, it's attached. And of course, quality is improved. Driving position is excellent, although you do feel like you're sat a little bit higher than I'd want to be sat for some reason, but it's brilliant. There's loads of adjustment in the wheel. The pedals are placed really well. There's a nice big footrest there, so you're not cramped up like you are in some small cars. And actually, although you might be able to pick up a lot of wind noise here, that's probably because we're in a really open area where we are now. There's just fields everywhere, and it's really windy today. Actually, it seems like it's going to be pretty refined, this car. It's very refined, in fact, which becomes especially clear once you get it on the motorway. When you're in here, it does feel like it's moved things forward quite a lot. It feels more techy, feels more advanced. It feels like you're driving a bigger car than a Fiesta. It just feels like it's lost a little bit of personality. It kind of feels a bit Korean almost. A bit like if you took the Ford badge off it and put a Kia one on, you'd say fair enough. That is, of course, subjective, and the cabin is, in fact, very well put together. And floating or otherwise, the touchscreen is nice and bright and intuitive to use. It's probably fair to say that what they've done is they've traded 1/10 of the driving experience of the old car, and they've given it to comfort and refinement. So the balance is slightly different with this car. And that's ultimately a very smart move on Ford's part because, let's face it, the number of people who want a sophisticated and comfy runabout far outweighs the number of people who want to chav about like they're in the smart price rally or something. Therefore, what we've got here is probably the best-selling car in the UK for the next 8 years or so. Well done, Ford.